Well, let me get into Adam Pachinko Machine if you're ready.
Yeah, go for
I'm
it.
always ready for Adam.
First, you're going to have to see this picture of him. Showing it to Will now.
He looks like powder.
And now showing it to Felix and Matt.
God damn. Why the rosy cheeks, stud? Are you looking in the mirror?
He is perfectly hairless. And from his Wikipedia page, in 2003, while a 17-year-old student at North Virginia Community College, Pachinko Machine set up VoteHillary.org, an independent website that urged voters to vote for Hillary during the 2004 presidential primary. He later ran Draft Hillary for President in 2004. He is the aforementioned fellow who burned the Vanity Fair magazine, and
I'd like to say real quick, he posted that, and then like people who were supporting him, a lot of the wine moms pointed out that the highly glossy, beautiful, lush colors in the Vanity Fair magazine are actually quite toxic to breathe in. So he should have been more careful.
it doesn't matter. This man has clearly already suffered from
some kind of
multiple
brain
radiation
injury.
disasters. You know what? I wasn't going to do this. So I'm just going to read the article from the start. As bullets zipped overhead, Adam Pachinko Machine grabbed for his gun and radio. He called for backup. He had been in this situation before. He had even recovered illicit firearms from this very housing complex near the district's North Capitol Street. But this time, while his partner wrestled a suspect with a gun in his waistband to the ground, a riled-up crowd gathered around. Pop, 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 pop. Back out of here, another officer shouted. We had just had gunfire. Rob Bechtel, a D.C. Police Reserve officer who watched a video that surfaced online of the 2-minute scuffle, said he'd never seen anything like it. All this is happening while someone is cranking off rounds, he said. And right there, with some other officers, is a Hillary staffer. That would be Pachinko Machine, a part-time D.C. Reserve officer and the director of grassroots engagement for the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. During the week, Pachinko Machine 30 sits in a small cubicle at the campaign headquarters in Brooklyn, surrounded by standing desks and beanbags, fielding calls from volunteers across the country. But on weeknights, when he can, Pachinko Machine still drives the streets on patrol in the district.
Wait a minute. So in the weekends, he goes from New York to D.C. to drive around in a patrol car and pretend to be a cop.
Essentially, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This is bylined January 2016 during the campaign.
This is what the Orc Cop movie is based on.
Adam Bright Pachinko
Yeah,
Machine.
they read this article and they're like, they let this horrifying creature be a police officer.
You know what? He looks a lot like the
He's
Orc.
orcish. He has no hair.
He's totally
Yeah, I'm like
bald. He's
weird-
got kind of pointy ears.
Folks, I'm
It's
begging.
like if he had vitiligo, he would be the fucking orc cop.
He likes to go after the bad guy, the thrill of the hunt, said Bechtel, a friend and fellow volunteer.
When that guy arrests perps, is he's like, you just failed the Bechdel test.
All right, that's the singer of the week right there.
Felix gets the Amazon gift card of the week.
Let's hear it for Felix.
Thank you, boys. I was actually sitting on that one. I was looking for an opening the moment I heard it.
It may seem surprising that the famously risk-averse Clinton campaign allows a top staffer to chase down criminals in his downtime, but this campaign knows it can trust Pachinko Machine. They know he has dedicated most of his life, since age 17, to her ascent to the presidency. They know he put off college to work for her, then started Ready for Hillary super PAC. He's 32 right now, by the way.
What? He's 32?
Yeah, he
Yes.
looks ancient.
So
It's
why?
like, it's like working for the Hillary campaign. It's like guarding the Holy Grail. You just you age into a wizened creature.
Did they make him bathe in Fukushima water?
Guys, here is...
Holy shit.
Let's get into some psychology. So why then has Pachinko Machine spent much of the past 13 years working towards a Clinton presidency? He's not particularly close with the candidate, nor has he earned inner circle status. His fanaticism is a very practical kind. You might even call it Clintonian. Pachinko Machine doesn't have one rosebud moment that sparked his devotion. He's got a thicket. As a kid in Arlington, Virginia, he seethed with jealousy when he learned his best friend's dad was a convention delegate with a photo of Hillary Clinton on the family piano. By 13, he started writing letters to politicians asking for a signed headshot.
Oh my God.
Now I'm thinking about Sam in Casablanca with that same piano. And Humphrey Bogart goes, play it again, Sam. And then he goes, this is my fight song. And he's like, I love that song.
I'm thinking about
brings me back to Philadelphia, 2016.
I'm thinking about Reese Witherspoon in Election.
Yeah.
This is like exactly like that.
I'm thinking of a very unsettling and sort of grotesquely intimate biopic directed by Todd Haynes. You know,
Safe or something like that.
yeah, exactly. Yes, just like a real claustrophobic look at the psychosis of a young man.
I'll trade you my Orrin Hatch rookie card for 2 Wayne Burses.
Well, yeah, Virgil, you already said it, but this is like every joke we wrote about Carl Diggler, like having signed John Anderson rookie cards.
Oh, those weren't jokes. He really did that.
Yeah.
Then there was the time Hillary came to his elementary school and shook his hand, and the time he washed Bill's golf cart at the local course. He still has a $5 bill the president signed for him. But when Pachinko Machine decided at age 17 to start a draft Hillary movement, it wasn't just because he had met her as a kid. Adam is an entrepreneur, said Bert Kaufman, a friend of him for the past decade. He was drawn to her promise. He was drawn to her potential. Sure, he thought she would be a good president, but just as important, he thought she was a good bet. Whoops.
Third time's the charm there, Adam.
Okay, here's how we finally...
Seriously, way to back the wrong fucking horse.
So he breaks in by being a teen, a Ben Shapiro type who starts a Hillary for President PAC. Patty Solis Doyle, who ran Clinton's PAC at the time, recalls
There's
getting
a name I haven't heard in a while.
I know, right? Recalls getting a call from the candidate. She was like, "Who is this guy? What is he doing?" Solis Doyle sent someone to make sure he wasn't a crazy person. Whoops.
And then when it turned out he was, they were like, "You're hired. Dude.
Meet Peter Dow.
Yeah, you're in the Dow Fedayeen."
A few weeks later, he showed up at her office. He didn't have an appointment, so someone told him he would just have to wait, she said. The earnest teenager with a comb-over sat there for hours.
Oh, man.
When I finally let him in, I said we didn't have any job openings.
Teenager with a comb-over.
He-
Oh, my God.
He said, "I'll
That's
work."
a sadder short story than the one Hemingway wrote. Teenager with a comb-over.
Give half of that Amazon gift card to Matt.
Hell yeah.
Fine.
Singer of the week,
go,
baby.
By the way, what this is telling me is that the Hillary Clinton campaign is run like Fight Club. You have to sit there with your fucking shitty comb-over until they let you in. He said...
That's why Dick Morris ascended so quick. They were like, "You have to smell my feet." And he's like, ooh, wouldn't want to do that.
He said, "I'll work for free. All I want is to help Hillary one day become president." I told him she wasn't running for president, but he didn't care. Solis Doyle liked his chutzpah, and she
I
loved
like that
his
you're
work
insane and
ethic.
delusional.
He,
Perfect for this campaign.
he came in early, left. Yeah, like somebody shows up to Hillary headquarters saying, "I love her." And they're like, "What the fuck?" He came in early, left late, didn't mind grunt work, and could tackle organizational tasks. She eventually hired him as her assistant, the youngest paid employee on the Clinton team. Then Clinton eats shit in 2008. At 22,
This is like a shitty, like every shitty World War II movie where it's like, "Yeah, they call me Brooklyn. I lied about my age so I couldn't live." I just believe in her. I look at her and I go, "Hey, that's a fucking leader."
At 22, he decided to go through the police academy. He had long been interested in law enforcement.
Did he make funny sound effects?
And he grew an extra appreciation for the work after watching Clinton's security teams on the trail. Watching them carry this case full of EpiPens. After graduating, he got a badge and gun and worked 20 to 30 hours a month on patrol as an unpaid volunteer. This is very damning.
Unpaid?
This is very damning to law enforcement. I think the MAGA people need to see this, and they will drop the Blue Lives Matter.
Wait a minute. All Blue Lives Matter. Let's be real here.
His superiors noted that he had assisted in more than 90 arrests, recovered narcotics on numerous occasions, and has been instrumental in the recovery of several firearms and at least 9 stolen vehicles. Among his best attributes, colleagues say, his knack for communication, his interpersonal skills, his sense of community. He was the grassroots cop.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Grassroots cop. What you gonna do?
The thing about Adam Pachinko is that, Virgil, I think you pointed out, like, it is a stunning indictment of the Hillary Clinton campaign that
The world.
that he was allowed to be reach the level that he did.
Oh,
And also, it reflects poorly on him. He stayed so focused with Hillary after she showed herself to be an utter incompetent. Like they just kind of skip over 2008, but people forget.
Well, I skipped it,
before 2016. 2008 was the last time that a politician missed an open layup that badly.
Oh,
Hillary had the fucking
Matt.
total open path to the nomination in 2008, and she fucked it up at every level. And these people who are like making the smart bet on a real player, including the Democratic Party, who decided that she needed to have an open road in 2016, didn't realize that indicated a profoundly flawed candidate.
Matt, it gets better.
Oh,
We'll get to
I have
that.
one last thing to say about Hillary in 2008. You know how I knew Steve Bannon's political program would fail? Because Hillary tried it in 2008.
True. It
She
is
did,
true.
though.
She ran the Bannon campaign in 2008.
Back to Pachinko Machine, and here it is. Here's the money quote. In 2009, he ran for an open House of Delegates seat from Arlington. Bill Clinton did a robocall on his behalf. He came in third. Meanwhile,
Oh, you got that shiny Clinton magic. on him.
Meanwhile, he finished his college degree and met his future wife Kirby Hogue. She wasn't.
Is there any normal name in Democrat world? It's like
No.
all right. So you believe in means testing and a sensible approach to NATO. Here's your new name. Your name before was Chrissy Jones. Your name now, you guessed it. It's Tootsie Flop with 3 P's and an umlaut. Enjoy.
You are Waluigi Grinder. But she wasn't the only woman in Pachinko Machine's life. There would always be Hillary.
Oh my god.
She was a third in their marriage.
Part of it is a family component, Pachinko Machine said. When you're 17, 18, 19 and getting a call from Hillary Clinton on your birthday, she takes on a role of mom away from home. She was always asking me how things were going with my degree and why I hadn't finished it. She cares. She really cares.
I'm imagining the college episode of The Sopranos, and Hillary was taking Adam to visit schools, and she saw Vince Foster.
Now, you guys...
Jimmy says hello from hell, you rat fuck.
Here's what I'm thinking. Mother, tell your Adams not to walk my way.
So you guys probably remember seeing a bunch of ads like way back in 2013. That was all because of him. He launched Ready for Hillary again, drove a bus around the country, and then Ready for Hillary, but it's hauled in serious cash. $4 million in the first year, $9 million in the second.
Can we track killings along the route of that bus?
He believed the
That
massive
was the real
list
baseline killer.
they were building could be the foundation for a Clinton campaign if she decided to run. And in return, Pachinko Machine swears that he never expected anything from Hillary Clinton in exchange for his loyalty. He just thinks she would be a great president. Later on, he would also have to contend with the fact that grassroots has always been the weak link for Clinton. Bernie Sanders is the grassroots guy now. It's hard to fill arenas by appealing to voters' pragmatic side. There are only so many Pachinko machines out
The
there.
pragmatic thing, like getting your ass kicked by a demented, senile orange joke.
The most pragmatic thing possible, looking at suburban Republican voters and thinking they're going to reject racism.
I think
So
Adam
pragmatic.
I think Adam has done a great job, Marshall said. We have a great grassroots operation that doesn't necessarily get the shine it deserves. In, I believe it was August of 2016, after the DNC leaks, they had to clean house in the DNC. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was out. And
A washing machine, Schultz.
Oh,
Yeah, get the washing machine out, put it in the Pachinko machine.
Pachinko machine.
I respect your culture. You have to respect my culture. In the Jewish language conventions, what looks like Wasserman, it's a washing machine.
They basically Hillary Clinton's campaign shipped their own people to run the DNC. Pachinko Machine became the national field director for the DNC for the last 2 months of the campaign. And I found this today. I just want to read to you a couple tweets from a couple days before the elections. First off, here's a picture of a big rally. So, Arizona isn't looking so good for Trump. Here's one. Here's one. Somebody. It's a quote of someone saying Democrats have overtaken Republicans in vote cast in Florida. Love wins.
Whiff.
And Last
Wow.
one.
I thought we fucked up with our
Last one. This is a picture of child Hillary Clinton, captioned, "Chicago is going to make major history twice within a week. Hashtag World Series."
Oh, I thought that was going to be hashtag murder rate.
In a way, he was right. That was an historic election, and he was in charge of the fucking field operations of the DNC. He failed mother.
My favorite thing from the field operation was when they were playing a game of chicken in Michigan, where
Yeah.
it's like, no, if we send people
Yeah.
there, the Trump
Oh my
people
God.
will think we're in trouble. But if we don't, they'll think that we're 10 points ahead and they won't try. And we'll win it.
Yeah,
Master-
they 12-dimensional
master
chess
strategy.
themselves
You know
into
what-
loss.
what-
The only way,
which is perfectly fitting because they spent the entire Obama years convincing themselves that Obama was 12 steps ahead of everybody. So that means that they were going to be 12 steps
Yeah.
ahead of everybody
But
during
it-
the campaign.
But it's also perfect because we've seen that Steve Bannon's a fucking idiot, right? And Steve Bannon only thinks in like, Plato, Machiavelli, war strategy, art of war, 48 laws of power terms. And the only way you can lose to him is if you're like, okay, I'll play on that battlefield.
In both 2000 and in 2008 or 2016, Democrats lost a totally winnable election through their own incompetence and then looked across the aisle at the absolutely fraudulent shithead who had incompetently run the campaign that they opposed, Karl Rove in 2000, Bannon in 2016, and instead of looking at their own fuck-ups, decided, well, that guy is a genius.
So, the resistance people say that Russia cost Hillary the election. I'm willing to admit there is one possible way to make that argument, that Russia was responsible for the DNC hacks that forced Debbie Washing Machine Schultz out and put Adam Pachinko Machine in as national field director. This cop jihadist for Hillary, who is the one of the, 7 people in the country who actually loved Hillary and called her mother, and thought, oh, well, everybody believes this too, right? We're doing great. There's so much enthusiasm. And then ate shit. People often criticize us and say, why do you talk about these people? They're irrelevant, right? And my answer to that is, one, it's funny. If you can't find
Yeah.
out that's
we've
funny.
had so
It's just
much
humorous.
fun.
It's just humorous.
You're an
We
idiot.
had a lot of fun.
I'm
this
sympathetic
episode.
to that critique, but at a certain point, you have to have fun.
No,
Yeah, of course, you have to have fun.
I was done talking about them until the Vanity Fair
But
thing, to be fair.
Also, they still wield a great deal of establishment power. This is from BuzzFeed News in August of this year. It's about Hillary Clinton's new PAC, Onward Together. And here's
It's a great ear for language.
Very inspiring.
where she has hired Adam Pachinko Machine, who had a central role on Clinton's campaign, to help him out. Here's a quote. Pachinko Machine, a longtime Clinton loyalist, that's an understatement, who founded the PAC Ready for Hillary in early 2013, will focus on the larger political landscape for both Onward Together and, tangentially, Clinton's activity on behalf of Democrats, looking at the question of how, when, and where she can be helpful to candidates in upcoming races. I mean,
Oh my god!
Yeah, calling Adam Pachinko Machine a Hillary loyalist is like calling Patricia Krenwinkel a Charles Manson loyalist. Really undersells the level of
like it or
devotion.
not, Clinton is still a major conduit for big money into politics, into the Democratic Party, and this fucking cop slug, this fucking Bhopal disaster victim, is one of her top lieutenants.